The man in the dark coat stood just inside the cafe, his sharp eyes scanning the room before settling on Jungkook. He was older than Taehyung, with a slicked-back hairstyle and a smile that didn't reach his eyes. The air around him felt heavy, like he'd brought a piece of Taehyung's world into the cozy, flower-dusted space Jungkook called safe. "Jian Jungkook?" the man asked, his voice smooth but laced with an edge that made Jungkook's skin prickle. Hoseok, still standing beside Jungkook, stiffened, his hand tightening on the counter. "Who's asking?" he said, his usual warmth replaced by suspicion. The man ignored Hoseok, stepping closer. He pulled a business card from his coat pocket and slid it across the counter. "Min Yoongi. I represent certain interests. We need to talk about your arrangement with Kim Taehyung." Jungkook's heart sank. The weight of Taehyung's warning, "People will watch you, judge you," crashing over him. He glanced at the card, which bore only a name and a phone number, no company or title. "I don't know what you're talking about," he said, his voice steadier than he felt. Yoongi's smile widened, but it was cold, calculating. "Don't play dumb, kid. The surrogacy. It's all over the boardroom." Whispers. "My associates want to know why Taehyung picked someone like you." He leaned in, his voice dropping. "And what it'll take to make you walk away." Jungkook's fingers clenched around the edge of the counter, his pulse racing. "I'm not walking away," he said, his voice low but firm. "I signed a contract. This is between me and him." Hoseok stepped forward, his protective streak flaring. "Look, man, you can't just come in here and—" Yoongi raised a hand, cutting him off. "This doesn't concern you." His eyes never left Jungkook. "Think about it, Jian. Taehyung's world chews up people like you. You're in over your head." Before Jungkook could respond, the cafe door swung open again, and the air shifted, charged with a new kind of intensity. Kim Taehyung strode in, his presence like a storm breaking over the room. His dark eyes locked onto Yoongi, and for a moment, Jungkook swore the temperature dropped. "Min," Taehyung said, his voice a low growl. "You're a long way from your office." Yoongi straightened, his smile unfazed but his eyes wary. "Just having a friendly chat, Taehyung. Your surrogate's an interesting choice." Taehyung's gaze flicked to Jungkook, sharp and assessing, before returning to Yoongi. "You don't talk to him. You don't look at him. You want to play games. You deal with me." Jungkook's breath caught, the protectiveness in Taehyung's tone sending a jolt through him. It was the first time he'd seen the billionaire's control waver, a crack in the icy facade revealing something fiercer underneath. Yoongi raised his hands in mock surrender. "No games. Just business." He glanced at Jungkook one last time, his smile sharp. "Think about my offer, kid." Then he turned and walked out, leaving a heavy silence in his wake. Taehyung's eyes stayed on the door for a moment before turning to Jungkook. "What did he say to you?" His voice was low, controlled, but there was an edge to it, like a blade held just out of sight. Jungkook swallowed, his hands still gripping the counter. He wanted me to walk away. Said I'm in over my head." Taehyung's jaw tightened, his gaze darkening. "And I told him no," Jungkook said, meeting Taehyung's eyes. "I'm not backing out. I meant what I said. I'm doing this for my family." For a moment, Taehyung just stared, his expression unreadable. Then he stepped closer, so close Jungkook could feel the heat radiating from him, a stark contrast to the cafe's chilly air. "You don't know what you're up against," Taehyung said, his voice low, almost a whisper. "Min Yoongi works for people who tear you apart to get to me." Jungkook's heart pounded, but he didn't back down. Then tell me. If I'm in this, I deserve to know what I'm facing. Taehyung's eyes narrowed, a flicker of something, respect, maybe, crossing his face. You're braver than you look, Jian. He paused, then added, or stupider. Jungkook bristled, but before he could retort, Hoshea cleared his throat, reminding them of his presence. Not to interrupt this, whatever this is, but are we safe here, or should I start locking the doors? Taehyung's gaze didn't leave Jungkook. You're safe. For now. He stepped back, his demeanor shifting back to cold professionalism. My driver's outside. We are moving you to a secure location until the leak is handled. Jungkook blinked, his mind reeling. Moving me? What about my job? My family, they'll be taken care of, Taehyung said, his tone leaving no room for argument. This isn't a request. Jungkook wanted to protest, to demand answers, but the weight of Yoongi's visit and Taehyung's intensity pressed down on him. He glanced at Hoshak, who gave him a small, encouraging nod. Okay, Jungkook said finally, his voice barely above a whisper. But I want to see my mom first. Taehyung nodded, a rare concession. Fine. My driver will take you. But after that, you're with me. As Taehyung turned to leave, his coat brushing against the counter, Jungkook felt a strange mix of fear and resolve. He was in deeper than he'd ever imagined, caught in a world of power plays and secrets. But Taehyung's protectiveness, however cold, sparked something in him, a determination to prove he could handle it. To prove he was more than a mistake. The hospital was quieter than usual, the late afternoon light filtering through the blinds in room 314, casting soft stripes across the linoleum floor. Jungkook sat beside his mother's bed, his hands clasped tightly in his lap to hide their trembling. Soojin was awake, propped up against pillows, her eyes brighter than they'd been yesterday despite the fatigue etched into her face. Junghan was there too, sprawled in a chair by the window, sketching in a worn notebook, his presence a small comfort in the sterile room. Jungkook's phone buzzed in his pocket, a reminder of the black car waiting outside, Taehyung's driver, ready to whisk him away to some secure location he didn't fully understand. The weight of Min Yoongi's visit at the cafe and Taehyung's fierce reaction still pressed on him, making this moment with his family feel both precious and fleeting. You're leaving again already? Soojin asked, her voice soft but laced with that maternal intuition that always saw through him. You just got here, Cookie. Jungkook forced a smile, his heart aching. I know, Mom. It's just work stuff. I'll be back soon, I promise. The light tasted bitter. He hadn't told her about the surrogacy, the billionaire, or the shadowy threats circling his decision. He couldn't, not when she needed to focus on getting better. Junghan looked up from his sketch, his pencil pausing. Work stuff, huh? You're acting weirder than usual, Hyung. What's going on? Jungkook shot him a playful glare, trying to keep things light. Just trying to keep us afloat, brat. Someone's gotta pay for your fancy art supplies. Junghan grinned, but Soojin's eyes narrowed, searching his face. Jungkook, she said, her voice firm despite its weakness. You're carrying too much. I see it in your eyes. Whatever this job is, it's eating at you. Jungkook's throat tightened, her words cutting deeper than he wanted to admit. He reached for her hand, her skin cool and fragile under his fingers. I'm okay, Mom. Really. This job is going to help us. A lot. She squeezed his hand, her grip surprisingly strong. You don't have to save us alone, you know. We're a family. We do this together. The words hit like a punch, stirring the guilt and fear he'd been pushing down. He wanted to tell her everything about Taehyung's cold stare, Yoongi's chilling offer, the contract that felt like a lifeline and a chain. But the confidentiality clause, and the fear of worrying her, kept him silent. I know, he said softly, his voice cracking. But I need to do this. For you. For Junghyun. Junghyun set his sketchbook down, his grin fading. You're scaring me, Hyung. Is this about that rich guy you mentioned? The intense one. Jungkook's cheeks flushed, and he cursed his brother's perceptiveness. It's complicated. But I'm handling it. Soojin's gaze softened, but her voice held a quiet strength. Promise me you'll be careful, Jungkook. Money isn't worth losing yourself, he nodded, unable to speak past the lump in his throat. The buzz of his phone broke the moment, and he glanced at the screen. Driver waiting. 5 minutes. Taehyung's efficiency was relentless, even from a distance. I have to go, Jungkook said, standing reluctantly. He leaned down, kissing his mother's forehead, then ruffled Junghyun's hair. I'll call you guys tonight, okay? Junghyun swatted his hand away but smiled. You better. And don't do anything stupid. Soojin held his gaze a moment longer, her eyes full of unspoken worry. We love you, Cookie. Always, love you too, he whispered, the words barely audible as he grabbed his backpack and headed for the door. Each step felt heavier, like he was leaving a piece of himself behind outside. The black car idled at the curb, its sleek lines out of place in the hospital's gritty parking lot. The driver opened the door, and Jungkook slid inside, the leather seats cool against his back. As the car pulled away, he glanced back at the hospital, a pang of guilt twisting in his chest. He was doing this for them, his mother, his brother, but why did it feel like he was betraying them? To the city blurred past the tinted windows, and Jungkook's thoughts drifted to Taehyung. The billionaire's protectiveness in the cafe, his fierce command to Yoongi, "You don't talk to him," had been unexpected, a crack in his icy exterior that Jungkook couldn't stop thinking about. Was it just about control, protecting his investment? Or was there something more? His phone buzzed again, this time with a message from an unknown number. Arrive at the estate in 30 minutes. Do not speak to anyone. Cook's heart skipped, the curt tone unmistakably Taehyung's. An estate? The reality of being pulled into Taehyung's world hit harder now, the hospital's warmth fading behind him. He was stepping into a storm, one where secrets, power, and danger swirled around a man who both intimidated and intrigued him. As the car sped toward an unknown future, Jungkook clutched his backpack, the contract inside a reminder of his choice. He'd promised his mother he'd be careful, but with Taehyung, careful didn't seem possible. All he could do was hold on, and hope he was strong enough to weather what came next.